Hey guys, it's your girl Becky with the good hair, and I'm coming to you from my kitchen again. And I am here to do a little rant. And I asked you guys on Twitter what you wanted my new YouTube video to be, and it was between reading mean tweets and doing a rant about somebody named JoyAnn Reid, who is on MSNBC. And that actually won, at least as far as right now, pretty much by far and away. People wanted me to do a rant about JoyAnn Reid. So here we go. And if you haven't been up on what's gone on recently, it was in the last few days, I can catch you up right now. So what happened was, it was all, on Twitter, all these Twitter drums. So JoyAnn Reid, if you don't know who she has a show on MSNBC that I don't watch. I don't watch MSNBC. But she has a show on there, and she is just kind of your typical establishment Democrat type of person. Supported Hillary, she's very anti-Bernie. I never understand why these people hate on Bernie so much, but they do, and she's one of them. And so on Twitter, it was on November 29th, on Twitter, she had gone on this rant, like she did a thread, and here's one of the ones she had been, that kind of started it. So she said, "The voice of God in media and politics has been male and mostly white for forever. These men are given not just moral authority, but the power to shape the national narrative. We're watching that authority crumble as we learn how many have used their power to press for sex." So she's talking about all the scandals that are coming out with all the people being outed as sexual assaulters. And in that respect, I agree with her. I do think that, it is true. So with that, I don't really have a problem with it. I actually pretty much agree with it. But later, someone named, I follow him on Twitter, someone named Jeffrey, I feel so bad, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Cawthorn. He had written back and he said Bernie Sanders, because she was saying within this thread that there are no, and I want to be able to find it, but it said this conversation has too many replies, so I don't even know if I can find it. But she had said that there are no powerful figures that are male that we can trust now in politics. She said maybe Obama, but there really are no trusted politicians that are male in politics right now. And then Jeffrey said Bernie Sanders. Like, what about Bernie Sanders? Obviously you're forgetting him, duh, hello. And then JoyAnn responded to him. She responded to him by saying, I get that he has a hardcore following, but his own attitudes towards women, from his weird early writings to his physical dismissal of women in his presence, including his own wife, make that an incredibly dubious prospect. Yeah. So before we get to kind of what transpired after that, I just want to give Jane Sanders clap back, because I just think, I just love what she wrote in response. So Jane Sanders, Bernie's wife, who was referenced in JoyAnn's tweet, she wrote back and said, "I didn't answer your biased reporting about Bernie during the last 2 years, JoyAnn Reid. But don't ever use me to demean my husband. I am very happy and very proud to be Bernie's wife. Your perception couldn't be more wrong. Have you ever talked with him? You've never spoken with me." Ooh, yes. Yes, girl. Yes. Yes, queen. Preach. I totally agree with everything she said. So I wrote back to Joy, and I had written, "I get what you're going for in this tweet. It's filled with myths, misinformation, misleading info, vague statements. What concerns me is that you're a news anchor. Your career is dedicated to reporting news. Skewed info like this on your Twitter is cause for concern." So I got a lot of people who were kind of like arguing with my use of the term news anchor. They're like, no, she's not a news anchor. She's an opinion reporter. She's not a journalist, blah, blah, blah. And these were people who were either in favor of JoyAnn, had a problem with my statement, and then there were people who were, on my side, like they didn't agree with Joy, but they're like, she's a joke, she's not a news anchor, blah, blah, blah. So I don't really honestly care what the oh, Jesus. And of course, I can't edit this. I don't really care what the terminology is that is used. So for me, JoyAnn is on MSNBC. Technically, I mean, it's a news, station. I mean, we can use that term very loosely. It's a news station, kind of. She's on TV. She's an anchor. Like, she gets on TV in front of a camera and she talks. So I don't really know what other term we can use besides news anchor. I didn't say that she was a journalist because I really don't think that she's a journalist. But honestly, I can't really think of any other term to use for that. But my whole point with that tweet is that whether you think that she's a journalist or not, whether you agree with JoyAnn or not, what she said in that tweet was completely inaccurate. And I also like that there were fans of hers and Hillary supporters, and they're like, but she's just speaking the truth. No, she wasn't. So she said that Bernie has I like that she says he has a hardcore following when he's the most popular politician in the country. So if you want to call that a hardcore following and make it seem negative, do you, boo-boo, like whatever. But then she said he his own attitudes towards women. What does that mean? Like, does that mean his attitudes in wanting to get women access to paid maternity leave by law? Like, oh my God, what a sexist. He wants people to have universal health care, including women. What a jerk. He wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and that would help women. God, he's such a sexist. He wants to give people universal college so women can go to college. Oh my God, he's like the most misogynistic human being on the planet. And then she also said he has weird early writings. This is a myth that I have seen perpetrated on the internet, on Twitter, by Hillary supporters for the past year. And okay, personally, I haven't read these early writings. Supposedly, Bernie wrote these things in college, and they're saying that they were rape fantasies. And some people call them essays, but from what I understand, they are fictional. And people don't seem to understand that fiction means fiction. Fiction is not real. I'm a writer. I've been writing for forever, and I studied writing, and sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, do authors put grains of truth in their fiction? Yes, they do. Some have admitted it. But you cannot make the assumption that every single author is putting truth into their fiction. That is not the case at all. I mean, for example, just take Harry Potter. What truth is in Harry Potter? It's completely made up. It's a completely made up world of, wizards and witches. That's not real. That's not real. That's fiction. So Bernie's rape fantasies, whatever, are fiction. They are not real. They are not real. So anytime you bring up his writing, his fiction, it goes in one ear and out the other because I don't care. It's fiction. It's imaginary. It's made up. It's made up. Stop talking about it. Literally nobody cares. And then also too, remember that it was written when he was in college. Bernie's 75, 74, something like that. He was in college decades ago, in the 70s-ish. That was a long time ago. That's a long time ago, and you're still talking about that? Oh my God, like, you need to get a grip. Stop. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that he wrote fiction. Nobody cares. So the fact that JoyAnn is bringing that up is just pointless. It's a way to smear him. It's a way to show that Bernie's somehow a bad person because he wrote fiction. That drives me freaking crazy. And then she also uses this really clever, vague statement. She says his physical dismissal of women in his presence, including his own wife. What does physical dismissal of women, including his own wife, mean? What I've heard is that what she means is that Bernie wags his finger at women, and she was talking about how he apparently did that to Hillary during debates. Okay, listen for a second. Have you ever watched a Bernie debate with anybody? Anybody. Ted Cruz, Hillary Clinton, male or woman, doesn't matter. Have you ever watched Bernie talk? Honestly, have you actually ever watched Bernie talk to a camera? He's always going like this, like this. He's always going like this. Like, Bernie waves his hands all around all the time. He uses a lot of, hand gestures, maybe unnecessarily, but he does. So you're going to tell me that Bernie going like this and Bernie, stop it. Like, you're telling me that Bernie doing that is sexist and a physical, a physical dismissal of women? Just stop. Like, that's a joke. Seriously. I can't with that. And then she said that it included his own wife. And when I got in on this fun, someone who is a Hillary supporter linked me to all these videos proving that Bernie's a sexist. And there was this video saying that Bernie was being a jerk to his wife. And it was when Bernie was at a rally and he was being introduced. It was Bernie, his wife, I think a couple other people. And there was just kind of the awkward, we're being introduced, we're on stage, what do we do? How long do we stand at the podium? We got to go sit down, like, whatever. And then you heard Bernie say, because his wife asked him a question, like, where do I go? Like, what do I do? And Bernie's like, no, go sit down. And he kind of went like, no, go sit down. Like, go sit over there. Like, it was just kind of like, just like the awkwardness of being on stage and everything. And apparently that meant that he was physically dismissing his wife. Oh my God, I can't with this stuff. Seriously, this is all they got. This is all the proof they got that Bernie's a sexist, a raging misogynistic person, is that he talks like this, and he told his wife to go sit down at a rally. Okay, yeah, no, I can't with that. So my whole thing with JoyAnn, I'm not really gonna talk about the stuff with like her gay, people have unearthed these old blog posts of her where she was kind of making jabs at like gay people, and I think that's bad. She's apologized for it. I think that's bad that she said those things, but I'm not really going to talk about that because I think that's kind of unrelated to this right now. But my problem with JoyAnn Reid, JoyAnn, if you're watching, hey girl, but my problem with JoyAnn is that she gets on TV. She gets on national TV. She uses her Twitter as a platform to give her opinions, and she is spreading misinformation, lies, skewing the facts to smear a public figure, to smear Bernie Sanders, who is currently and has been for a very long time now, the most popular politician in the country, according to every single poll that has shown it. Every single poll that has been done about politicians and their favorability. He always comes out as the most favorable politician. Always, always. So she's smearing him. And why do you think she's smearing him? Just because she doesn't like him. She doesn't like him. She's an establishment Democrat. And I think that it's really dangerous. So basically, this video is just to say that, like, you have to be careful about who you follow on Twitter. And, you know, even if you're an everyday citizen, you just have to really watch who you follow, check their facts, and I suggest honestly calling them out. Call out JoyAnn Reid, call out anyone you see who's spreading misinformation. I think that the more we do that, the better things will get. So that's it for now, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya. Bye, guys.